The helmet of salvation protects your mind so the devil can't get in there and confuse you and take your focus on what you're supposed to be doing and what God has for you. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone to another Walking with Christ podcast. Today we're going to get into part 5 of part 6 of the Armor of God series. And in this one, we're going to talk about the helmet of salvation, everyone. And before we get into it, just like usual, just wanted to thank all of you that have decided to subscribe, take time to like, putting comments into the chats, and sharing with those that you feel that this podcast, this community, as far as the Walking with Christ community, would be worth sharing with others that could use it to grow in their walk, to have this community in their walk and fellowship, and just in support of it as well. All of that's welcome. So, for those of you that have not subscribed yet, feel free to do that, join the community, and, also entertain those other communities that are out there for you to be able to join as well in your walk and your journey as well. The focus is the growth in your relationship with God, and we just wanted to make sure that you have the support to be able to do so. So again, in this Walking with Christ podcast, we're going to focus on the helmet of salvation, and we talk about salvation in different respects throughout everything that has gone on in this Walking with Christ podcast journey with the ministry has been up until this point. Salvation being what you are called to do, and what Jesus did here for us to be able to have the opportunity to be able to have a day to where we can join heaven once that day comes. Now, what you need to do in between now and then is so important, because what's going to happen every day and what continues to happen and what will continue to be present in our life is that things are going to come into our mindset. And some of those things that come into our mindset are going to be those things that are important as far as our relationship with God, to help us grow, to help us serve, to help us do what we need to do in a given day, in a given moment, in a given season. So what we have to continue to do is just be mindful of how we need to navigate our mind and navigate what's in our head as we go forward, because things can go on and we can find ourselves in a state of confusion, seeing all the distractions that are coming our way, all the things that are kind of set forth to kind of manipulate us, because that's what happens a lot with us in our minds as far as what's going on in our head. Things are done to manipulate us, to cause us to focus on one thing when what we really need to be focused on is God through all things. And sometimes that's what happens. The devil's putting little things out there to cause us to be distracted. And some of those things could be the things that tempt us. It could be something that you're highly interested in and that is seen as a vice, that is seen as something that you care a lot about, but isn't necessarily reflective of a walk of Christ, but you feel strongly about it, and those things can cause us to have an embattlement in our mind to say, yes, I know I need to walk this way, but I'm so attached to this that I can't see clearly how going the way that I'm going is taken away from the walk that I'm supposed to be going on. And the way this can show up sometimes is the things that we find ourselves attracted to. Now, our gifts are so strong suited for one thing that we focus so much on using the gift that we don't focus on using the gift in a way that honors God. And we get so many people who are talking different things to us, or certain things that are being told to us as far as what is acceptable, what could be the way that would get us to a certain point that will cause us to lose track, cause us to lose focus on God in that journey? How are we supposed to be honoring God in what we do? You can have a gift all day long. If you use it the wrong way, then that gift isn't what it's supposed to, isn't being used in the way that's supposed to be used for, in a way that honors God. And, you can use gifts that you have to suit the devil too, straight up. So you have to make sure you maintain that focus so you don't get off distracted, or when you are finding yourself in your mentality, in your mindset, playing out the ways that things have gone in your life and saying, things just, no matter what I do. It's been a lot of people out there. It's been me at times. Things just don't go well no matter what I do. I'm trying as hard as I can. I'm working as hard as I can. And your mindset gets to you and says, you know what, God, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that I need to do for things to change. And we look at everything and a lot of things, but we don't look at how we think through things, how our mindset is through things, and whether our mind is really connected to what God is wanting us to do, and making that our focus. And making that our focus, seeing that the way that He wants us to go, and we was talked about previously in some of these Armor of God podcasts in this series, that just because you go away, just because you do something with a thought process, just because you are doing everything you can, doesn't mean that everything you can is what you're supposed to be doing to honor God in every way that you can. And that can get hard, because sometimes when things are laid out to us, say, okay, if you do this, this, and this, that means you have a greater chance at doing whatever it is that you need to be doing in life. Or if you're struggling to a certain point and you do things a certain way, or if things are just seem like they're just stacking on top of you time after time because you're just feeling the hardships of the world, the difficulties of the world, and the things that are going on in the way where you're just like, I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. I know some of you felt like that. You don't know what you're supposed to do. And as the world lays it out there to you, things can happen a certain way sometimes if you do things a certain way. And that can be deceptive sometimes, because that's not always true, right? You do things, you work as hard as you can. Things are said to be fair, but it doesn't always end up being fair. But that doesn't take away from the fact that you're giving your all to something. You're doing what you feel you're supposed to be doing as far as what it's supposed to look like, and you operating in a certain way to take care of yourself, to do the things to get along in a certain path, to go after a certain thing that you're desiring to go after. And it doesn't work out the same way for you as it may work out for somebody else. And that can get to you. And then what happens in those moments is that you may be attracted to a certain way that the devil is enticing you to say, hey, there is a way. And this way means that you're going to have to take away from yourself, not go that way that God put for you. Because it's that thought process that because it's not going well, that has to do with God. But here's what it is, y'all. What it is that you may not have given yourself over fully to God and what you're supposed to be doing. See, sometimes we say we want things to work out, but it means we want things to work out as long as you get what you initially went into wanting to get out of it. But what we should want to get out of it as followers of Christ, as people that are going in this walk, in this journey to honor God, we should want God to be seen in what we do. We should want whatever He is trying to use us for, as I said in the previous video, to show up in our journey, to be what happens in our life. And when that doesn't happen, when we think of it another way, when we think of it of, it has to be this thing that it's going to come of it. Or if it's not working out, it means it's not working out because I'm not seeing what I initially thought it was going to be come to fruition. But this is what it needs to be, brothers and sisters. It needs to be things are happening in a way that glorifies Him. And that's showing up in your life. That being what is present. That being what you're pursuing. Because if not, everything's going to distract you. Your mindset shouldn't be, and I said this in different other places, your mindset shouldn't be in a place or a certain way. Your mindset should be and out on God, because that way, no matter what goes on, no matter how things transpire, no one can take anything away from your journey. The devil can't attract you because you're focused on God doing what He needs to do in your life, and what that needs to be as far as how your life is shaped, how your journey is traveled. Because the only thing that matters is that you are growing closer to Him in every way and every day. And nothing that isn't of that is distracting you. Nothing that isn't of that journey is something that you're gaining curiosity in, because you're seeing something happen with other people that isn't happening with you. But that happening, it doesn't matter to you because God is living through you, and that's what you're feeling. And when you feel that, when that journey takes place in your life and you see yourself going along down that path, what happens is that you get what I've talked about so many times and what is so important in your journey, which is that peace and joy. And when you get that in that way, brothers and sisters, where you start to feel that peace and joy because it's what God is doing in your life, because it's what's happening in your life, because you are focused on Him, that is a peace of joy that nobody can take away from you. That is a piece of joy that doesn't happen circumstantially. It happens because where you were at with God in your journey in salvation, and bringing this back in, brothers and sisters, what's happening in your salvation, because that is what is transpiring as the predominant aspect of how you are living. And when you have that on, when you do that, that becomes your helmet in your salvation. Because that's what protects you. When you take off that helmet of salvation, everything can intrude in your thoughts. Everything can distract you from where you're supposed to go. Everything can come into your presence and take you off into a different journey. But when that helmet is on, nothing can stop you from going in the way that God has meant for you. So I encourage you, brothers and sisters, make sure you have that helmet of salvation on. And that helmet of salvation is your connection with your focus, with what God has for you, and not allowing yourself to get distracted in the ways of the devil. Not at all. Keep that helmet of salvation on as part of your armor of God, brothers and sisters. Let's continue this journey together as we continue to walk in Christ together. Walk with Christ together, right? God bless everyone. See you on the next one. Part 6 of 6 coming up. Take care.